Afternoon everyone. So today we're at an Audi. We think it's a Quattro. It's a V6 3 litre TDI and it's a 2004. There's the engine bay there. So customer's complaint is an intermittent loss of power on acceleration. So here's a list of the fault codes. Papa 3348, activation of exhaust turbocharger 1 control unit, electrical error in circuit. Oof. Transmission, we have a P0703 brake switch B circuit and a P867 data bus drivetrain missing message of the steering column. Brake electronics, right front ABS wheel speed sensor. It's fairly obvious. Climate control high pressure sensor. I'll not have any gas in the aircon. Electronic central locking, left fog, right backup, right brake tail lamp, rear right turn signal. Airbag control module, intrep VIN, driver's front airbag crash sensor, front passenger front crash sensor, brake control module, redundant signal path, side airbag igniter. I think this thing's been in a crash, right? Comfort system, alarm triggered by interior monitoring. Oh, we can ignore that. So that's it. So all the codes you think the P3348 is the one we want to go after. Plus, but then again, the cut in the power could be this one here, the brake switch B circuit. So we'll start it up. Is there a key, Roddy? Is there a button?
Keys should be right.
Oh, sure there is. So let's go into transmission first of all. There's all the stuff. Read DTCs. B. So we'll go after this one. Read data stream. Read by list. 100. Right. So this has not got a search function. Let's just look for brakes, Roddy. Let's brake light switch. We'll look for brake B. That, did you see anything? Let's go brake light switch then. Brakes. So that's me putting the brakes on and we're actually getting an input, but whether that's brake B light input switch, I do not know. Let's just select all and let's have a wee look. Engine speed 0 in gear. Brakes, and it goes see that the shift lock solenoid. So the very fact the brakes are work, we can then get it out of gear, and if we take our foot off, it doesn't move. So that proves that input. Transmission temperature lever. Kick down switch. Supply voltage terminal 15 and 50, that's alright. Steering angle 1. So it's, when you see all these listed, that means it's talking to that module. Now the one it was complaining about was the steering, was it no? So that seems to be alright. It's appearing. But the parking brake electronics showing a dash. Yeah, so we're not much further forward there. Let's come out. So we're activation for exhaust turbocharger control unit. So I would imagine this is like a BMW. It has a electric thing actuator. It'll not be pneumatic. So go into this. Read DTCs. That's an implausible signal. 2 turbos on this? 2 maybe? Read data stream, my list. We cleared the fault codes, and the one that comes back is the P3348 activation for exhaust turbocharger. So we'll have a wee nosy around and see what we can see there. So I'm saying there, I think it's maybe got 2 turbochargers, but looking at this, I think it maybe only got 1. So there's a turbocharger bit there, and imagine this is the activation solenoid which it's complaining about. So in order to check that, what we'll do, we'll disconnect that multi-plug and see if another code comes up. So there's the code we have at the moment, P3348. So let's disconnect this. See if it makes any difference. At least it'll tell us what component it is. So there we go. So we're at the right area. So that's coming up now, a mechanical failure, and that says it's an implausible signal. So we're on the right component, so we'll plug that back in. Well, you can hear that. That moved. So let's go back out of that. Let's read the DTC again. So they're still there. And let's clear them. So it comes back, so it's no happy about something. So I can see that the wire's a bit tight there. Oh no. See, it's an implausible signal. In fact, what we'll do, we'll give it a road test first of all and actually see if we're getting any boost. But I wonder if they're complaining about implausible signal there. So you can actually see the little rod is right in there. So I'll keep you focused on that. And I'll put it back in, you can see it move. See that? So that is actuating. So I wonder if there's a position sensor within this thing, and that's not doing the business. So you can see there, I've selected the PID, charge pressure control duty cycle, and that's under a turbocharger. So you can see it jumps between 5 and 13, sorry, 5 and 50. That's because it's disconnected. So keep your eyes on that. So I'll plug this back in, and you can see, Roddy, you do it there, my man. You can see this jumps to 80%. There you go, that's it plugged in. So that's the duty cycle of that. 80%, which would be fully open. So it's reporting correctly there that it's doing the business. So why does it not like it? So there you go, there's a nice graph of it. So it goes between 5% and 80%, but we wouldn't imagine it would want to go much further than 80%. So we're just going to take it a run along the road. So you can see our turbocharger sitting at 80%. Our actual boost pressure is atmospheric. And we'll see how it boosts. So we're actually getting boost pressure. There we go. Oh, that's plenty. That's like 21 psi, I think. So thing goes. So there's the duty cycle there. We never get any higher than 80%. Unless that's what it's complaining about, but we're going to get the gun. There we go. So we're driving it there at down to about 25% at the top. So that thing seems to be working how it should, so so I put the snap-on machine on it, so we're getting that code 13128 control circuit for controller for turbocharger, and we're also getting another code 01592 throttle body actuator bank 1, component is the J338 implausible signal, lower limit reached. Right, we're doing a pin out along the wires, so you can see we're into the first wire, which is a yellow blue, and the scope says 12 volts. There we go, 12 volts. So we'll go to the next one. There's a blue wire. The scope says 8.67 volts. Go to the next one, which is a red wire. Scope says 8 volts again. Hopefully I'm right in the wire. And go to the last wire. That must be our ground there. So the thinnest wire is battery voltage. The next wire's showing 13 volts as well. That's meant to the blue wire now. It's showing 6 volts. Then into the red wire. That's showing 6 volts as well. And the brown wire showing a good ground. Let's go back to the first wire. And let's disconnect. Disconnected, the 13 volts remains. Let's go along to the next wire. It's showing a funny frame there, isn't it? Let's go to the red. And the red shows 12 volts. So you'd imagine that one's maybe the ground for it. Don't know. So I think it's doing what it's meant to do. Now I did see this wire here. I've took the cover off it. But you see down there the wire's a bit exposed. So I don't know if it's been rubbing off of something. I don't know, but everything seems to be present at the top. So plug it back in and see. So I moved for the graphic multimeter to the scope, so you can see on that. Let's see. So on the blue wire, you can see it's a duty cycle. So that must be what controls the actuation of that valve. Would you start that, Lionel? Would you start that, lad? You can see if this changes as we start the car back up. Oh, there you go. Oh dear, Lionel! Leave the key in, lad. There you go. So that seems to work as it should be. Still keep our 12 volts there. That's that blue wire. Then into the, start it up again, Lionel, lad. Cheers, lad. So that's us into the red wire, which is showing 12 volts at the moment. That's battery voltage as well. Dear knows. Right, Lionel. Right, I thought I would do some bi-directional control on this. This is quite interesting. So we're going to functional test, actuator test, sequential actuator, continue. So that's the throttle body module malfunction. So you can see this. Something. Don't know where it is, but you can hear it. It's moving. So that's the throttle body module. So we'll go next. So this is a turbocharger one. You can see it in there. We know he's moving. Let's go next. Intake. Where's that about? Oh, there, it's there. That one's working. So manifold flap. There's that one there. He's working. Next, Right engine mount solenoid valve. Now I remember seeing that in a Scanner Danner video. Somebody having problems with that, so you can imagine it's in here. Can you see it? Left mount solenoid. You can hear it clicking. Transmission mount valve. Can't hear anything. Go next again. Control surface low plug controller. I forget that. Fan. There's the fan working. Go next. That's a high speed fan. EGR valve. Imagine that's in here. Oh, you heard air. Here's something happening in there. Valve for fuel metering, so it'll be somewhere in about this area in the fuel line. Behind the pump. I feel something in there. Fuel pressure regulator. Oh. I think that's doing the fuel pressure regulator. Over valve for the EGR cooler. Oh, I heard something pop in there. Something in here, I think. Oh, there it is. So that was the EGR cooler valve and air filter bypass. Didn't hear a noise for that, but it's no complaining. And preheating of coolant. Didn't hear nothing. Nothing. Malfunction primary circuit, fuel pump relay, glow plug, mill light on. That's that. So, gives you an idea where some things are, but we're still no further forward. This is back at the turbo. So we've removed this cover, just 3 Torx T30 Torx, 2 there and 1 down the bottom there. And you can see, I mean, I've got the key off. You can see, oops, that's moving freely. I don't know. You try it, Roddy? That's. It's straws, but you'd imagine this thing would cost a fortune. So we're actually using the launch to do the actuation test, and it's quite good. You can just pick them one at a time. So this figure down here never changes, duty cycle. Yet that one does. So is it this feedback circuit? We're confused. It must be another. Oh, there it goes there, that time. Is it intermittent? I think it's something to do with that. One must be the command to do that, another one must be the feedback to say it's doing it. I think it's that. It's a feedback circuit, because you can see, if you see that, it's going up. I would get a figure on this sometimes, see that? And other times it's no working. I wonder if we pulled that, where that would go to. Good. Pull it off, Roddy. If you pull that off, Roddy, and see where that goes to. See, that still remains low. I wonder if we could take a test light and drive that high. You got your wee test light there? We've disconnected that. We're trying to see if we can drive this figure high. Maybe grounding out that first wire with a test light. Right, so I'm going to do this actuation test again. And I've got it disconnected. And I'm going to go into this pin here. I don't know what number it is. That was the light blue wire. It had 12 volts on it. And you'll be able to see this duty cycle change. So I've just used my test light Wait the battery negative, and we're just going to ground that out. So I'll start the test. Oh, now it's went to 100%. This is crazy stuff, man. It's needing one of these. Needing an actuator. I'm using a little Autel, but if you read the last bit, it says when stored in a 3 litre TDI, I think we're BMK, with throttle body faults, which we have. I'm not sure the codes I need to check. Check the throttle unit and wiring for issues that may be falsely causing the turbocharger fault. This note is in reference to customer feedback, not official TSB or TPI documentation. So that's throwing a curveball, because fundamentally we think that turbocharger actuator is working. But I just spoke to Russell Duncan. He says they're known to go, not so much on these Audi Volkswagens, but he's done a few in other cars. So, okay. So that's our code there, 13128. But we did have throttle codes when you take it a run.
Was it?